Good morning, sunshines, live from Bali. It is that time of the week. It is time for your sunrise chat here on Room for Sunshine. I think the most Bali thing in the entire world is that I am wearing a bathing suit under a sweatsuit. And I don't know why, that just feels so Bali to always have a bathing suit on. But it's Monday morning, and you probably don't have a bathing suit on, and that's okay, unless you are a lifeguard or just fucking feel like it, because you should if you do. My name is Alyssa. Welcome back to Room for Sunshine, a sparky, bright Monday morning here. Hopefully the same for you wherever you are. And this week, we are going to start the week not on the dark side, but on the darker side. To find the lighter side, we are going to talk about grief. Grieving is a process that somehow when we learn our ABCs, we learn how to share our animal crackers at the schoolyard, we learn how to do all of these things, but we don't learn how to change a tire, and we don't learn how to grieve. And in terms of practicality in life, I've never needed to know how to change a tire, but I'm sure at some point, knock on wood, now I will. Now this is going to happen like tomorrow. My scooter is going to collapse. But practically, in order to move through emotions, even when we talk about emotions in school, there's happy, there's sad, there's angry, there's hungry, there's tired. And grief seems to just get skipped over. It's like the chapter of the book that never got put in is about grieving. And for myself, I used to always associate grief with loss, as in death. But loss happens on a daily basis. We lose things all the day. We lose things potentially all the time. Every day, there is something that we are letting go of or that is being shed, whether it's intentional or not, that we might need to mourn. If we aren't mourning, if we aren't grieving, what's happening is we are literally keeping emotions and experiences trapped in our physical bodies and our minds and our hearts. And the reason I'm even talking about this Monday, the reason this came up is because I was on the phone with a friend of mine who was venting about how her life is not exactly turning out the way she thought it would. She thought that she was going to marry somebody who had this family, that she was in love with the in-laws and they were in love with her, and that both families would just like sing kumbaya and eat dinners together every week. And she was just talking about this sadness that she had for a reality that she had created in her mind. She had this dream that I would say everyone creates to some degree. I want to be a singer when I grow up. And you create a reality of what you think that experience is going to be like. You're like, perfect. I'm going to go to Juilliard, and then I'm going to go get a job working at some production company. And while I do that, I'm going to write songs and I'm going to perform them every week at a open mic night, maybe 5 open mic nights. And eventually an agent's going to see me. They're going to spot me. They're going to hire me right on the spot because I'm that good. And my career is just going to take off from there. I'm going to have a hit a year later. Being a singer was on one of my lists of jobs I wanted as a child. And it's not off. It's not off. But when we have these dreams, when we have these stories and ideas that the mind creates, oftentimes if reality doesn't end up matching whatever that hope or wish was, there's some piece of us that is sad. And most of the times, at least for myself, I was always taught just keep moving. Like some people go in the camp of, oh, it's just meant to happen that way. And some people go, you probably didn't deserve it or you weren't good enough. But regardless of which approach you take, you didn't get the thing that you thought you wanted. And that needs to be mourned. That needs to be grieved. That needs to be considered and just given a moment of your time. And I think this is such a important thing for all of us. I know for myself, I was also somebody who dreamed of, my family going on family vacations for as long as I live, and holidays were my favorite thing growing up. So I always wanted every holiday, I wanted every Thanksgiving to be exactly the way it had been my whole life. And then my parents got divorced. And all of a sudden, this dream, this reality that that had been real, it was a real thing. And then it was maybe a hopeful, wishful thing for the future. It went away. And I had to spend time grieving that loss because it is a loss. And once I actually spent time sitting with, oof, this hurts or this makes me sad and why, and really dove into what was the thing that I wanted from it. And for myself, I went, wow, you know what? I really just love family connection time. And I had to mourn the fact that I was going to have less family connection time in the way that I had thought it was going to be. And once we start to see these patterns of how do we grieve, how do we mourn, even on small scales, you might have thought you were going to get a promotion last month and then promotions rolled through and you didn't get it. And you can create a story about why you didn't get it. You can gossip with your friends and go, she didn't deserve it, I deserved it, or he did deserve it and didn't get it. Or you can just spend a few minutes sitting and being with that sadness or anger or whatever the emotion is that is alive from not receiving the thing. And what happens when we start to do this is we actually start to create space for new realities to present themselves. And that right there, that is the gift that I wish for myself and every single human, because that's where the magic of life actually starts to take over. When I started to grieve my parents' divorce, and really it was holding space not just for myself, but for we talk about like your younger self, but it was for the version of me that had the dream. I had to grieve for them too, and for present me. And when I started to do all those things, what began to happen was, one, little by little, the sadness and the anger dissipated, didn't go away, but it became lesser. But two, I actually started to become present in what my new reality was. And I saw the beauty in what was happening in front of me. I saw the gift of, oh my gosh, all of a sudden my parents are happier than I've known them to be in such a long time. And when I was able to pull away from the reality that I wanted and instead live in the reality that was, I was finally able to actually experience the peace and the joy that I was seeking. And so this week, this Monday morning, I invite you to grieve. And that could be a beautiful process. That could be a grueling, difficult process for you. But grieve something that you really wanted that you didn't get. Or something that you wished would have happened, but maybe it just hasn't even happened yet. And yet is such a great word to throw in there because we have no idea what life has in store for us. I think that weather alone can prove that. You thought it was going to be sunny and it was snowing. I went to Syracuse where it snowed so much that when we had sun, we were in dresses twirling around, drinking all day just to celebrate. I'm not sure what that has to do with grieving, but maybe I just need to grieve for the part of myself that had to deal with snow when she wanted sun. Spend a little bit of time this Monday morning in any aspect of your life, relationship, family, job, personal, and see if you can just spend a little time asking yourself, what was lost and how can I give a little bit of energy to helping it be seen, heard, and felt so that I can create space for new. And that's what I'm going to leave you with this Monday morning. If you're not sure what that process looks like, I would just spend 5 minutes thinking about the thing that you wanted, maybe writing down what are a few aspects of it that hurt the most, or what's the emotion that's most present with not having this thing turn out the way you hoped, and just be in it. And part of grieving and mourning, unfortunately, or fortunately, is that it's actually not about changing how we feel about the thing. It's just being with the emotion that was caused by the loss, by the event, by the turn of events. And so we're going to grieve, but we're going to grieve together. That is what we are up to this Monday morning, making space in our lives for more joy, more bliss, more love, more peace, so that all the things that you want, all the things that you wish for can actually come to you with a little more ease, a little more flow, and hopefully a little more lightness. My name is Alyssa. This has been a wonderful morning with you. Follow us on @RoomForSunshine, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are everywhere. And I am so grateful to be here with you. See you Thursday.